Apple. It went on and did some things, James. This is your playground over here. I thought that it would only be right because me and you used to fight over Apple versus Android,
You,
and
you
I
used
did.
to
I
fight.
did.
I used to just pick.
You said what?
I said you used to fight. I just used to pick at the wound, right? I used to throw salt in the wound
Oh man,
to
well
see
there
you
you go.
react.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, we used to fight over Apple versus Android. I throw my shots, he throw his shots, and that's what it is. But yesterday, Apple dropped some stuff yesterday, and it wasn't just phones. It was earbuds and watches and accessories. And I want to talk a little bit about the accessories a little bit later on. Basically, they dropped a whole bunch of gear. And basically, I don't know if you like it or not, but they rolled out the new iPhone 17 family. And they have the Pro, the regular one. They even came out with the new phone, and it's a slim phone called the iPhone Air. These new phones are built tougher with ceramic shield too. And James is going to break all that down in a language that y'all can really understand why this ceramic shield 2 is important. They got the A19 Bionic chips that are faster and more efficient. And basically, they're saying the cameras, they got some features that even got me impressed, y'all. I was very impressed with the camera selfie, whether you could take a vertical selfie and it also does it in landscape. That was pretty dope. And then they also dropped some AirPods Pro where you can check your heart rate and you can do live translation. And then they also dropped some Apple Watches that can check your high blood pressure and some other cool things like with sleep apnea or something like that. So, James, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be nice and I'm going to put the website up. Is there anywhere you would like to go first?
That hurt your fingers just to go to the
No,
apple.com
it really
website.
didn't. So before we get started, and I want your honest opinion, what did you think of the keynote? Honestly, what did you think of the keynote? Did you think it was just a regular keynote? Did you think it was just the same old with the
Good
best, the
question.
bigger, and the best ever? Or was it just because I saw that Tim Cook was not saying the same lines? He had other people saying the same lines
Yeah.
as opposed to him. So what did you think of the keynote first? And then we'll talk about whichever route you want to go.
Yeah, that's actually an interesting question to pose to someone who worked at Apple. Y'all know I worked there for 10 years, so I am a member of the cult of Mac. I'm a Steve Jobs guy, all that stuff, right? And no one can do it better than Steve Jobs. But Tim Cook is a really good operations guy, and he knows how to leverage his team. Every year is always going to be the best X, Y, and Z than it was the year before, right? Because they're going to come out with performance enhancements. They're going to come out with new build and design materials. They're going to come out with faster processes and things of that. So it was expected that this was going to be all that they announced. Apple will typically do an early fall release where they do the phones, where they do AirPods and some other things. And then there'll be another announcement, a little smaller one, still in the Steve Jobs Theater in Cupertino, where they'll probably do tablets, so iPads and MacBooks. This has been expected. This has been happening ever since the company was founded. The majority of the keynote was actually filmed, right, over the weeks. So the Phil Schillers of the world, the Tim Cooks of the world, the Greg Joswiaks, the folks that you saw on the video, they're actually in the Steve Jobs Theater at the time. So it's live for us, but it's pre-recorded. All that being said, it was a little more than just an iterative release for the phone because of the Air, right? We expected to get faster processor. We expected to get more cameras, but not necessarily the type of cameras that we got in the Pro Max. But no, I don't think anyone really expected the iPhone Air, which is a really interesting entrant into the family, just mainly from a build perspective. Right. So if you go through the pictures on the iPhone Air, right there, all of the components of the phone in and of itself are in that, what they're calling that plateau, that camera plateau. The entire body of the phone is the battery. Everything that runs the phone in and of itself on the Air is actually in that plateau, that bump at the top. That's a really interesting design perspective in terms of how they've been able to shrink down all the componentry and things of that. So seeing that match size of the current Samsung phone as well in terms of size is really interesting. I know we were on Doc's stream yesterday and you were asking who's the audience for the iPhone Air. very wide audience, I think, again, right? So everyone from your first phone, your second phone, someone who wants a very light phone, just that doesn't want to walk around with a big brick in their pocket, that kind of thing. So the iPhone Air, I think, is going to be incredibly popular with folks that want to upgrade to something new, but don't necessarily want to pay $2,000 for a 2 terabyte iPhone 17 Pro Max. The
So do you,
AirPods are good.
no, hold on. We're gonna stay on the phones for a second. So do you
Okay,
think
okay.
the iPhone Air is designed for maybe that senior that wants to be in the Apple ecosystem, but then yet it's not too expensive, but it's still got a nice price point with some great features? Do you think that, or do you think it's for
Price point is
college?
relative. Yes.
Or do you
Yeah.
think it's
So
for the
good
college
question as
student?
well. So again, price point is relative because you either will buy it outright, you'll either lease it with your provider, or you'll go through pricing plans with Apple in and of themselves. So you'll make it work. If you want the latest and greatest, you'll find a way to make it work. I think new folks that are coming into an iPhone, folks who have like a 13 or 14, maybe even a 15, I think the 16 is the bare minimum just from a form and a functionality perspective for an upgrade. I don't think anyone who has a 16 needs to upgrade to a 17 unless you just want to. There's a couple of benefits to it, but
That two
again, this is your
terabyte is
money.
a
You decide how
benefit.
you.
That two
Well, see, there you
terabyte.
go. Unless you,
No,
but
be
not
honest.
everyone needs 2 terabyte. Not everyone needs 2 terabytes
So let
of
me say
storage.
this. I don't know how long this show is going to go because it's Apple, right? And y'all Apple people be getting on me. So we need to go a little longer. If you got to tap out, you got to tap out. The replay is going to be here. We're going to talk about it because y'all say I'm not Apple friendly. I'm going to be Apple. I'm going to eat a green apple today, Granny Smith's apple. And we're going to talk a little bit about it. That's why I got James here.
I want to talk to Revis's statement right there because that is one thing as well about Apple. Apple's keynotes and the conversation and the people who own and that are part of that ecosystem. It's a very emotional topic. We love our phones. I think Android folks use their phone and they're very utilitarian from a style and from a fashion perspective. Just outside of the core functionality is where the Apple folks are. Right, pay a lot of money. We know we pay a lot of money, and we want to show it off. We want folks to see the new orange phone, the new purple phone, the new blue phone. Right, it's just a different type of finesse and feel that you get when you have an Apple product. It just is, just from an engineering and a design perspective, using aluminum, using the titanium, using all of the features that they use. Android, Samsung, Google Pixels are very utilitarian. They do what they do very well. Not a sexy phone though.
So
And
James,
I'm on both sides of the fence, right? Because I got a
no,
Pixel
no,
9 over here on my
don't
desk.
don't try and jump the fence now, and you coming over here to the Pixel side because it's been sitting on your desk. Don't do that.
It is. I'm looking at it.
Revis said, "Sounds like James got a new girlfriend. It's just a phone, James. It's just a phone.
And that's
It's just a phone." All right, now look, you got the iPhone 17, and then you got the
yeah.
iPhone 17 Pro. What makes the iPhone 17 so special versus the Pro, if that makes sense? And I'm gonna pull up. They got new colors. They got the blue. They got whatever green that is. They got the standard silver, black, and gray, and then they got a lavender slash purple. So what makes this regular phone just what makes it it? Just to say I got an iPhone.
Most folks really care about the camera, and most folks really care about the functionality that comes with the camera. So the front-facing camera on all of the new iPhones, on the 17,
We're not there yet.
17.
We're on the regular iPhone 17. We're not there yet.
That's exactly what I said. On the 17.
Go ahead.
Okay. Front-facing camera on all of the 17 models is an 18 megapixel sensor that actually has the ability to do dual recording. So it'll record from the back camera and it'll record from the front camera at the exact same time. That's the aha moment from Apple for these phones.
But it's not new,
True that
James.
it's not new. I was
J-
just getting ready. Jesus, I was just
I'm
getting ready to say
beating you
that.
to the punch. Okay, yeah, we're going.
Yeah, like you want me to talk?
Because Android was already doing this. Now, come on now.
Yeah,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm not
You
saying
just
that they
mad.
weren't. I had an LG. I know,
Okay.
but again, now I have an iPhone that can do that. And now the majority of folks who own that product and that platform are going to be swooping to that because that's what they want to do. That's the real sexy piece of this new 17. It's not the size, 6.3 inches on the size. It's been same size. It is higher of a nit in terms of brightness. So it actually is better visibility in direct sunlight. So that's one good thing. Fast charging, all phones have had something to that, but now you can charge your phone a lot faster when it's plugged in through a cable. The main thing that people are going to want to buy any of these new phones for, it doesn't matter, Google, Samsung, or Apple, is for the camera. And the benefit of getting the 17, because that's what you want to talk about, is that front facing 18 megapixel camera that can also do dual video.
So
That's the reason to decide if you want to spend $1,000.
So, for the ones who do not understand what the dual video is, just imagine you're recording the concert, but then yet you want to be in the shot too. You're watching your baby's sporting event. They're swimming, they're playing soccer, they're playing football, basketball, you name it. And you want to record them with the rear facing camera, but you in the shot too, if that makes sense. And you like, hey, that's my baby. Ah, and you get your moment and you get that other moment on the other side. Am I saying that right, James?
It's like a FaceTime call that you can record.
Yeah. 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 Okay. We're gonna look at
And
this.
that's big, right?
It is.
Again, from a usability perspective, that could be enough, honestly, for folks to go out there and spend $1,000. All the other stuff, who cares about the chip? Who cares about the faster modem? Who cares about Wi-Fi 6? I mean, we care as technologists, but the end consumer, your audience, wants to go out to the family reunion or to the family event and be able to stream video to Facebook or to wherever and be in the picture as they're actually recording. There's value in that,
Now
and
there was a
people will pay
way.
attention to what they pay for. So
Now you don't have the pixel feature. I'm gonna throw a little jab because pixel you could take the photo and then you can just leave a little room for me and then I can jump in the photo and I can be stitched into the photo, right? But this is actual video that you can do. So it's like, hey, I'm joining it. So it's no not because, like I said, Android already had this feature, but I don't know
mhm.
if that's something that people want. Now, that selfie mode camera was that in the iPhone Air and the iPhone 17 to where you could have it in vertical. And then not only can you take a vertical selfie, but it also gives you that landscape look and it allows more people to be in your shot and you can still keep your phone in vertical. You can still hold your phone in vertical as opposed to turning your phone sideways. But that's the
Yeah,
iPhone Air on up, right?
so that's 17 on up. So just so think folks who have a new iPad, right, and you're using the what's called center stage camera. So the sensor on these new 17s is no longer a 4.3 aspect. It's actually a square. And due to that, you no longer have to turn your phone landscape mode to actually get a portrait and or a landscape photo. Because of it has the center stage technology, and because of the sensor being a 1 inch sensor, you can actually just hold it vertical like you're typically used to anyway, right? Because we've always talked about trying to get folks to turn their phones on its side to take photos and videos, but now you just hold it as you're comfortable. That center stage technology keeps you as the holder in focus and in the center. As folks start coming into the image, it'll automatically adjust to those additional individuals as well. So again, usability and functionality for I want to take that group selfie and I don't want to what do the kids call it? The point five, where they turn it on its back and guess where the phone is looking at. Now you don't have to do that. I learned that from my son. Shouts out to you, Isaiah, right? You turn the phone to the backside and you just guess where it is. You call it the point five zoom ratio. But now you have the ability to just look right at it, center stage. It'll automatically adjust to however many people are in frame. And you can use that for all formats for vertical and or landscape. That's pretty cool.
Okay. All right. So, anything special about the Pro outside of the center stage and the camera? I mean, I know we talked about storage capacity because some
Yeah.
people they have their phone, right? And you're already at 120 gigs and then you have to pay for Apple Care 1. Is there anything outside of going to the Pro or the Pro Max outside of the new 2 terabytes? Outside of that, is there anything worth that people need to really pay
Yeah.
attention to?
So think about if you've ever had your phone overheat on you. Right. So the new Pro models actually have a vapor chamber that's integrated into the casing of the phone to alleviate heat. That's really cool. How many times have you had your phone, you had it out in your car or something on the seat, and it says it's gotten too hot to operate, so it had to cool down? Essentially, hopefully that can be alleviated by having this vapor chamber. You mentioned about the ceramic shield now. I didn't hear anything about Corning glass. So the front and the back of the phones are no longer glass. This is ceramic shield. So it should be tougher, should be less scratch and break resistant. That's a good thing. You're gonna give the phone to a 3-year-old, they're gonna play with it, they're gonna play some games on it, they mess around and drop your phone. Now, hopefully, with these ceramic shields on the front, the back, it's gonna be much more resilient to falls and breaks and things of that nature.
What about the
The key,
glass?
well, again, I said it's no longer gas. It's that ceramic shield. So there was no conversation or mention of the Corning glass. So the ceramic shield is what's actually on the front and the back, providing
So
that stability.
I don't know about this. This is why I'm asking. So the basically the screen is has this ceramic shield. So if you drop the phone, then it somewhat protects the phone as opposed to it being like the glass cracks on your tablet or on your phone because you got it in your back pocket. And then now it's like I cracked the screen. So now you're saying this ceramic shield is something that can stop, kind of withstand a little bit more strength.
Right. Right. It's
Okay.
ceramic shield coating. So it's no longer the Corning glass, Gorilla Glass, because I didn't hear anything specifically to that. So they've actually moved on to a new technology that's actually more robust and more fall resistant and drop resistant. They actually showed a couple of demonstrations, but that's again the reason behind that. So moving from the Corning Gorilla Glass to something that is even more stronger and more resistant to mishaps like that.
Okay. All right.
But let me get into, because the one thing that's specific about all that stuff is cool on the pros, but what's really important about the pros is the three cameras on the back. And those three cameras, they're not necessarily combined in terms of fusion cameras like they're on the other ones, where functionality from a range perspective and a lens perspective is combined. Each of these are 48 megapixel lenses. So your telephoto, your macro lens, your wide angle lens, all 48 megapixel lenses in and of themselves. So that eliminates the need for a lot of folks who were buying additional accessories who wanted an external lens on their camera. I don't want to say too much because I'm trying to work with the vendor to get some of those external lenses. But again, now you can go all the way up to like 200 times zoom on the built-in lens without having to add any additional components or additional accessory. A 48 megapixel fusion lens on the back of these cameras. Each one, all three of them are.
That sounds quite nice, James. So that's all the phone information that you need to know about. We did say we were going to talk a little bit about the AirPods. They have this thing called live translation, from my understanding. So basically, and my question to you as we were watching the keynote, it was they're speaking another language. You're in another country, you're taking an international trip. Maybe you're at the hospital and the person does not know how to speak English. You can have that live translation, but what if that other person can't hear you? How does that work?
Yeah, and I do need to find out for sure if it's only the AirPod Pro 3s that have live translation. Now, the main draw for the AirPod Pro 3s was that if you had AirPod Pro 3s in your ear and I had them in my ear as well, I can talk in my native language and you could hear me in your native language through the AirPods. That's if, again, we were both wearing AirPod Pro 3s. If we weren't, and you were speaking Spanish, I didn't understand Spanish, but I had my AirPod Pro 3s in. If you were speaking, I could then point my iPhone at you and it could read out loud or just write out the conversation as well in your native language.
So basically,
Now, I don't know if that's just a software thing that's tied to the AirPod Pro 3s or if the AirPod Pro 2s, which are currently available, will have that software piece as well. But the 3s talking and engaging back and forth, that was an interesting piece right there.
so you got 8 hours worth of charge. You got the live translation on the AirPod Pro 3, as you can see on the screen. And then they said that there's now more active noise cancellation. And then they were also saying something around the hearing test and the hearing aid. Do you know anything about that?
Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah. So one thing, so the active noise cancellation, it's going to be interesting to see how that is actually different than the AirPod Pro 2s because it's actually pretty darn good, right? You've called me a number of times. I'm at the gym. I don't think you've heard the background noise when I'm at the gym wearing my AirPod Pro. So when I get these threes, we'll do a test on that. But it's supposed to be 2x the ANC active noise cancellation. One thing that is happening with these new earbuds, they're kind of cannibalizing some of the functionality that's built into the Apple Watch by bringing in the heart rate monitor into the AirPod Pro 3. So you can actually do your ECG with the AirPod Pro 3s as opposed to now only having it on your Apple Watch. So folks that don't want to spend the $3, $5, $800 on an Apple Watch and just want to spend I guess $399 or however much it is for the new AirPod Pros, you can do that and still have those health benefits and those tracking benefits from a heart rate monitor and things of that nature. So that's pretty interesting how I think they're cannibalizing one accessory that they have in the lineup and making it more accessible to folks who may not be all in with the Apple ecosystem.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not mad at it. Like I said, the goal at the end of the day is for you guys to walk away with a clear understanding of what these products are. And I wanted James to come on here because I know he can give you an intellectual conversation, not go over y'all's head, break it down in a language that you can understand. So now, if you decide that you want to do this, now, as James said, if you have an iPhone 16, there's really no need to do this. But if you got that iPhone 14, it might be time to make that jump if you want to make the jump. If you don't want to, there's no pressure. No one's not telling you you're not cool because you don't have it. Now, you may have to listen to your friends, but that's self-control in your pockets at the end of the day because you're the only one that's got to be able to pay your bills. I'm not
Say that
helping
again for the people in the
you.
back of the room,
I'm
right
not.
there, right?
I'm not helping you pay your rent because you didn't turn around and bought a $2,000 phone. All right, so I'm just being 100 with you. Now, if you ran into a car issue, a truck issue, or something like that, that's different. But if you invested in a phone,
You done gone out and spent all your money on Chris Brown tickets, and now you want to buy
oh
a
yeah,
phone.
no. Well, you know they were financing the Chris Brown, and then some people was on the outside still looking in. So no, it is what it is.
Crazy.
Reeves, you still here, man? Any thoughts? Anything you want to say about what you've heard thus far? I know you're not really a phone savant, shall we say, but your thoughts?
But like I put in the chat, I like listening to James when he talk about Apple. It's like watching Pornhub
Uh-oh.
because he is so into the Apple product. But I tell you one thing I really like the translation feature of those iPods because I have tried to buy some translation buds and I didn't receive them and I don't know how they work.
So you bought some janky air buds. You bought some janky ones, and they never showed up. Is that what you're saying?
No, they never charged me for them either. But I was looking at James. James said something about pointing the phone at a person, and it translates. And I was wondering if the person was of a different race and they were deaf and they couldn't speak, but they moved their lips, could I still hear it?
Damn. I'm sorry.
I was just wondering. You point your phone at them. I thought maybe it was picking something up, reading lips or something.
I don't even know how to respond to that, James. He's trying to be funny, but the joke.
The man is making me.
I'm just
He's
gonna
saying,
put him
I
back on
remind
the
him of Pornhub. The man said, I remind him of Pornhub, and now he's
Let's
talking
get
about
James
deaf
on the
people moving
screen.
their lips.
I ain't got time for this. Like,
No,
see?
I'm just talking about the language of the Apple products. When you talk about them with such inspiration. You like these products, and it's like watching a Pornhub movie or something.
Oh God, I can't. All right, man. We're gonna move forward. We can't have an adult conversation with you right now, man.
Man.
Look to the audience. This man is
Uh-oh.
all.
I done
Man
did
is all.
something stupid.
Yeah, he did. What feature do you like most on the iPhone 17? So we talk phones first. ProMotion, A19 chip, battery life, the camera fusion, or the price. I think the cheapest phone was $799, right, James? The next
So
tier
the
up was
price is actually a good thing because they didn't raise the prices.
right.
Same prices as they've been for a couple of years.
Yeah. They did not raise the price. The camera fusion, 48 megapixel, the battery life, the A19 chip, and then the promotion. We didn't even talk about the promotion, which is the video side of things. They were actually saying that the actual video was like Hollywood style filming. Am I saying that right, James?
Yeah, for the last few years, Apple has filmed these keynotes and these sessions using an iPhone, right? So there's a lot of professional video creation capability built into these phones. It's nice to see a collaboration and a partnership with Blackmagic. Blackmagic is the go-to platform for video editing from a Hollywood perspective. So that's there. Being able to do ProRes raw capture directly from these Pro Max phones. So completely raw footage, ProMotion up to, I think it's 6K, 120 frames per second is just ridiculous. More than, again, the average user is ever going to need. But you have that powerhouse in your pocket if you ever need it to shoot high quality types of videos and photos. The fact that you have what they call Gen Lock is for using multiple camera transitions and multiple camera overlays and things of that nature. But again, that's going to be more from a filmmaking perspective. 95% of the buyers aren't going to need that. What is good is that they raised the capacity on the Max up to 2 terabytes. 2 terabytes in your pocket in an iPhone is a lot of capacity. If I'm shooting, I'm going to be walking around Las Vegas in January. I'm going to be shooting in 4K 60 entire time. And those are going to be some huge files. And I will be able to save the entire week on my phone without having to export it out. Very good for me for my back as well, because I'm not going to bring a whole bunch of cameras. But if I can use my phone to shoot at that high quality capture, that's a big thing. I've already got mine on pre-order. So yeah, if you want to ask me that, I got it in blue.
We didn't ask, but because we already.
I know, but I had to say it anyway.
We knew you was gonna already get it, so it's not like it's something.
2 terabytes, baby. 2 terabytes.
Real briefly, let's talk about the watch real quick. What's so special about the watch? Something about heart monitor and sleep apnea. But let's talk about that real quick.
Not much different from the so I'm only speaking of the Ultra, right? So I've got the Ultra 2, and not the Ultra 3 is what was announced. The only thing that was really different was some capabilities around satellite. So it's got a 5G antenna built into it for satellite. So when you're off the grid, when you're out during that hike and you lose complete connectivity, if you don't have your phone with you, and if you just have the Apple Watch Ultra 3, you can still send out those SOSs on Starlink, which is a satellite service provider that they utilize. So that's good, right? Heart health, sleep apnea monitoring, that kind of thing, high pressure, hypertension type of monitoring, but that's coming to all of the watches. So that's great because that's just easy to enable. But at the end of the day, the big thing for the new Ultra is the fact that it's got a 5G antenna in it, so it can actually do satellite connectivity. Now, the cheaper one, the SE3, you can actually play your music off of that now. So like the more expensive watches, it has a built-in speaker, so you can actually play your iTunes, your Spotify, whatever the case may be. That's pretty cool.
This is definitely the Inspector Gadget days.
We Dick Tracy, brother. This is Dick Tracy, right? We just dated ourselves. We know youngsters don't know about that. Youngsters don't know about that.
Right, I got you.
It's a fun time, and I know we talk a whole lot about it, but man, for a consumer, it's a fun time. Samsung, Pixel, Apple, the world is at your fingertips just in terms of capability, right? Capturing instances with your family and capturing memories, especially photos, especially videos, and being able to save those, being able to respond to messages, the health features and functionality that not just Apple has, but even on the Pixel side as well. So all of these carriers and all of these manufacturers have, there's more pros and cons. There's more benefit for staying current with this technology as well, because some of this stuff is not going to be able to run as effectively and efficiently on some of the older devices. So stay somewhat current. You don't have to be in front of the wave. You don't have to get to 17 today. As an investor of Apple, I'm even telling you, you don't have to get to 17 if you really don't have a use case for it. At a minimum to 16, though. Minimum to 16.
What about the 15? Because Lisa Maria said she has the 13 and she wants to upgrade to the 15.
I don't even know if the 15 is still going to be available. Gee, you might want to check, Lisa, if the 15 is even going to be available after Friday, after the 19th, right? When these things hit the store. You just may want to double check that you can still get a 15 when you go to the Apple store, or you go to Best Buy, or wherever the case may be.
I did say I wanted to talk a little bit about the accessories. Now, look, I'm trying my best not to be biased, but when I saw that they had a crossbody strap, as a man, I'm not about to have no crossbody strap.
There's the fashion thing, though, right? So it's a perfect segue. It's a perfect segue.
I'm not about
Google
to
and Samsung don't have no crossbody straps, but
For
you
a
gotta,
phone?
and they don't have Hermes bands and stuff like that. But
For a
Apple,
phone.
I'm just telling you, that's how it is. These are fashion statements. These are things that people are willing to spend thousands, hundreds and thousands of dollars on accessories. On an Hermes band, y'all look up Hermes, and that could be the word of the day next week for you, Revis. The HERMES. Hermes. They got bands and
MagSafe.
take note of that.
No, we're not using no Hermes. We're not doing that.
The MagSafe battery is nice.
What's so special about that?
Well, just again, additional capacity, but third-party manufacturers are going to come out with one as well. What's the price on the one from Apple?
$99.99.
$99.99. See, listen, in 2 weeks, the folks from Belkin, the folks from whomever else are going to come out with one for $25.
And they got a MagSafe charger for, I think it's $39.
Okay.
1 meter length. This is what it looks like on the back of the phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so 3-foot cable for $40.
Yeah. Or you can buy the other one. I don't know. $99, $39, I think is just really about how much milliamps you get inside of it. It does not say. This one is 12 watts, 20 watts. It doesn't say. It just says it's a 12-watt fast wireless charger on the go for the $99 one. That's what it says. Okay. Well, what I
They're
got
going to be hot too.
Now, what I got out of this, James, and this is a sense of maturity for me, I saw Apple cornering the market. No need for accessories. We're making sure that the ceramic, as you were talking about the phone, now your kid can have one and you don't have to worry about spending a lot of money, right? They have everything that you need to not leave their ecosystem.
True.
That's what I got from the keynote. If you mess with Apple, you don't need to buy a third party anything. We have you from your heart to your sleeping habits to if you're stranded in the woods to you got into a car accident. It played a lot of, on your emotions. James and I was trying to crack jokes and he was like, no, I ran to the store because my dad said I had to have an Apple Watch. And I was like, well, he got good help.
I had the same situations.
So they have it set up to where you don't have to leave. Now, I'm going to still tell you, come on over here to the Google Pixel. But I also know some people are just going to be locked into Apple. Those people, they're just not going to leave. Now, my question that I have for you, James, and then we're going to move on after this segment here. What feature do you like most about the iPhone 17? We're going to talk about that first. Now that you know what you saw based off of previous years, are you impressed or are you just like, it is what it is?
You asking me or you asking your audience?
I'm asking you because you're Team Apple. So based off of what you saw yesterday, do you think that they hit the mark or do you think it was just another keynote and just say these are the products?
Friday, every Apple store on the globe is going to be full. Right? Every Apple store is going to be full. There are going to be lines around the corner at every single Apple store on this planet because folks want to see it, folks want to touch it, and folks who have probably pre-ordered it are going to be there to pick it up. Folks are going to that have bought it that Friday, they're going to be taking pictures with their other phones saying, "Look at me," and they're going to be sharing that. You don't see that with many other manufacturers of any product. It's just either status symbol, it's a fashion piece, it is a level of I done spent my hard-earned money on what I think is the best thing out there, and look at me, look at me. Good or bad, whatever the case may be. I think that this is a good iteration to the iPhone family. I'm really excited, like I said, about the Air. I think that's going to be a huge success for them. A smaller subset of us professionals are going to probably go with the Max because we have an actual use case for that. The real draw is what they did with the camera by doing the dual video display. So that's going to bring a lot of folks in as well who have been missing that because they either had it with the previous model or they had it with a previous manufacturer as well. I think Apple is continuing to do what they need to do and keep people in the ecosystem. It's very sticky. When you got 2 or 3 things that are in the system, it's very sticky. Just like these AirPods. Yeah, I got Google Buds too. They don't work as nicely on an iPhone. If I go to the gym and wear my Google Buds, they don't sync up as cleanly. Right? Things just work for you without you having to think about it within the Apple ecosystem. In the Android ecosystem, you got to know a little something about technology to leverage that platform. You got to have a little raised level of usability and expectation when you're in the Android ecosystem. You got to know how to do certain things. On the Apple side, good or bad, pro or con, most of that is done for you. That's why every single iPhone out there works the exact same way, looks the exact same way, because it's easily transferable. The majority of the consumers want that. Y'all in the comments tell me if I'm wrong, but I honestly think that the majority of consumers just want to go out there. They want to spend that X number of dollars on a piece of hardware and they want it to work the exact same way every single time. Don't want to mess with it. And they wanted to be able to share the photos. They wanted to be able to play the music. They wanted to do all of those things without having to think about the tech. They want to have the tech and then they're willing to pay for it. As I always say, people pay attention to what they pay for. And they're willing to pay that $1,200, a 17 Pro, to take those family photos, to share those family photos, to do the thing and to work with their AirPods and to work with their Apple Home, to work with their HomePod, to work with their laptop and be able to transfer stuff automatically from each of those devices. There's value, there's intrinsic value in that. Long answer short, did they do what they have to do? Yeah, Apple started out pulling at the heartstrings, right? Talking about health, talking about people that had cardiac arrest, people that had health emergencies and things like that, and their watch saved their life or their phone noticed that they fell or something and called the paramedics, whatever the case may be. That's not brilliant. That's how they do it. There will be college courses on how Apple delivers keynotes. And you see a lot of other companies that are starting to get into that same type of mentality of how they deliver their keynotes and their announcements, things of that. So, yeah, like I said, again, all transparency. I worked there for 10 years. I did buy or pre-order my new 17 Pro Max. It'll be here on the 19th. I don't think everyone needs that. I do recommend folks look at least the 16. And if you want some of that new camera functionality, at a minimum, the 17. But the Air, good Lord, that iPhone Air is going to be really sexy. That's going to be sexy.
Rich Vibe says, little has changed.
To each their own.
Hey, it is what it is. Look, I allowed this man to have his soapbox with Apple because this is.
I don't need no soapbox.
This man literally went for 8 minutes straight without coming up for air. I love it, James. Like, hey, you're
I don't need no
passionate.
soapbox.
You're passionate about Apple. Y'all know how I am. I mean, it is what it is. You did your thing, man, and this is why we have.
But I'm both. Right. Again, I got the Pixel. I got the Pixel earbuds. I got the Pixel watch over there. I'm looking over there at him right now.
He just came over, y'all, when he took his international trip. That's all we're going to say. The question is, did you buy it and use it when you took the international trip?
Now you're putting my business out there in the streets, right?
That's all I want to know. Did you use it?
They
He bought
stayed
it
in
and
my
didn't
bag.
so he bought it and didn't even use it, y'all. So he's still
I may have to bless somebody with some new. Anybody need a Pixel 9? And
It's the Lab Tech Show. Join us Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern at thelabtechshow.com. Embrace it or get left behind.
Alrighty then.